Hey guys, welcome back to Super Switch U. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I recorded this whole video once, only talking about one very specific question that I've been thinking about all day, and then after doing the video and saying some of these things out loud, uh, I have more questions, and me and my friend Larry were kind of discussing it earlier on the phone, and we went down a rabbit hole. We went down a very dangerous rabbit hole with some recent events, and I don't feel like it's getting the coverage that it should because this could really actually be concerning for the video game industry as a whole based off of one thing that was stated this week. And some of this is speculation. So, like, I don't have evidence that some of this stuff exists, but if it does, it's it's concerning. But we'll get there. So, what we're talking about specifically today Borderlands 4. Not the game, but the fact that the game for Switch 2 has been delayed. And the fact that it got announced being delayed a week before its release date kind of tells some things. So, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I could really use the subscriptions. I would love for you guys to be following my channel and watching all the content and stuff or whatever. That's as much as I'm going to say on it because I'd really rather talk about this. Um, it was said, and I don't know what day. I saw Spawnwave had put a video up within the last like 24 hours or so, talking about Borderlands being delayed. It was supposed to come out October 3rd for Switch 2. It's already been released since, I believe, my birthday, so September 12th of this year for Xbox and for Steam and for PlayStation. Like, all the other consoles got it. And Switch 2's was delayed. And that's next week. That's in a week, right? And wouldn't be a huge deal if this was like a digital title because it's like, oh, okay, well, we just won't upload it and people can't download it, so no concern. However, there's a game keycard version to Borderlands 4, and this is where the entire conversation comes to it. And before you think that I'm going to just go on here and be like, oh, this is all keycard, it's bad and should all be on the physical cartridge, this is one time that I don't think I'm going to use most of those words, especially in that order. This is like a concern I didn't think we needed for the key cards, but if left unchecked, we could get there. Like, it's gonna start real simple and like not concerning, and we're gonna get there over time. Okay, so let's do some research after thinking about this all day, and the same question kept popping up in my head. If key cards, if you get a key card and there's nothing on it, what happens, right? And that's something we thought was at the end of Switch 2's life, so when all the servers start shutting down, they stop support for these games, you wouldn't be able to download from a key card. Like, that's distance future. So a lot of people, they'll play the game, maybe play it a second time, sell it, and like that's it. That's the extent of them owning that game. But for the rest of us, we like to preserve and be able to play this later. Like, go to some other stuff, come back a year or 2 or 3 later, and then play it again. And that's all fine, but nobody thinks about the back end of it. But the thought came up, what happens with the front end of it, right? So if, say, somebody had a key card for something, but the download doesn't exist or is not reachable to pull for that key card because it hasn't been finished, what happens? And you might be thinking, oh, well, that's never going to happen. You'd have to like sneak one off a production line or something, right? Not necessarily, no. If you think about video game industry and the fact that to put something on a retail shelf as a physical cartridge, a disc, a Blu-ray, a key card, a code in a box, you have to produce these things, right? There has to be the box that it's in, there's the art that goes in it so you know what's in the box, and then there's either the piece of paper that has the code or the key card or the cartridge or the disc has to be manufactured. This kind of thing takes time, right? Takes probably a decent amount of time. So I kind of looked it up, and Google, as a estimation, and that's about all you can do in this case, says that's about 2 to 3 months to mass produce for retail stores. And that makes sense because you're going to want enough copies day one for all the people that are excited and pre-ordering and all this. And so you're talking in the hundreds of thousands to millions, especially for something as popular as Borderlands. There's the possibility for millions, especially since Switch 2 has gone over that 5 million units sold number. So the thought is that there are more than 5 million people playing on Switch 2, and so you want to try to sell them Borderlands. And yeah, some of the sales are going to be digital, but you're still going to have a lot of sales in the keycard side, even if most of the internet wants to burn every keycard that exists. You're still going to have people who buy them, people that don't care, people who like the idea of a keycard so they can sell it later. All fine, all valid points. You know, we're not going to go into that argument. There are reasons to like a keycard. There are also a lot of reasons to not like a keycard. But the thing is, you still have to produce it. You still have to make hundreds of thousands or millions of these things. So that's not going to happen in the course of a week. It's not. To produce that and ship it out to all these different stores, your Walmarts, Targets, GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, smaller mom and pop shops, it's not going to happen. It is unrealistic to do that in a week. Just throwing that out there. Like that's not speculation. That is being realistic. So the thought then is there's two possible things that are true. Either Gearbox, the company that makes Borderlands, I believe. I don't really play Borderlands, but I think that's the company that makes them. Either they knew about this for months, that they were not going to hit that release date, and for some reason decided like the week before to tell you like, oh yeah, your pre-orders are going to be canceled because we don't know when we're going to release this thing, so that we got to stop them. And then you can make the decision to pre-order it again when there's a release date or whatever. That sounds like very bad business practice. A lot of people are going to stop trusting you if you do that. So like that can't really be true unless you want to go bankrupt. And I feel like that's not it. So then it has to be the other thing to be true, which Limited Run had commented on this. Somebody from Limited Run had said that one of the benefits to key cards that these companies were doing was using it to present to retail stores to say like, hey, this is what this looks like, this is the thing, this is what we're going to release, but then it gives them up to the release date to finish the game. And if that's true, especially since keycard is nothing but a license and the call to action to download that game, and you could do that very early on in production, I would think. So you could have that already ready. 2 to 3 months ago, they probably finished or started or whatever production. So my thought is that there is warehouses somewhere that have box upon box upon box of full retail sealed up copies of Borderlands 4 for Switch 2. Which is where the question came from, not so much the back end, but if somebody was to get a copy of Borderlands 4, one of these out of the warehouse, even if it was just illegal, they snuck in, stole it, went home, popped it into a Switch 2. What does that do, right? If you put that in and it can't call the download, what does it do? Essentially, I would think nothing. But I went ahead. I did some investigative journaling, sort of, kind of. I contacted Nintendo customer support, and I didn't ask that question because that feels like I'd be setting myself up to say that I stole something that I didn't. So I phrased it for the other end, and I was like, so, weird question, but with a game key card, if I go to try to put one in to install the game or download it and it's no longer available or supported, what happens? Do I just not have the game? And it took this poor girl like 15 to 20, 25 minutes. She kept coming back. It was like, don't worry, I'm still looking for the answer, but I don't have it. This is a really good question. I don't know. I'm looking. And eventually came back to me with, unfortunately, we can't answer this question because we don't know. We are going to submit this for further feedback from other departments, and we'll eventually, hopefully, have an answer. But for now, we don't know. We don't know what happens if you put a key card in and there's nothing to pull. That's concerning, I feel like. But somebody at Nintendo had to have tried it. Like, somebody has to know what happens with the key card if you put it in and it can't download. Does it pop the icon up on the home screen and it just like acts like it's a digital title that isn't there? Does it pop up a error message box that says, sorry, but this is no longer supported. Thanks for purchasing it anyway. Essentially telling you that you wasted your money. Or some third thing that I could not even begin to guess what it would do. Don't know. Nintendo couldn't tell me. So I don't know who else to ask if Nintendo couldn't tell me. Sorry, I may have to go in a second and check on them and then come back. But anyway, so with that thought in mind, I started getting more questions of the possibility of a warehouse filled with Borderlands 4 copies that can't be used. It started sounding really, really conspiracy theory, but also really makes sense if you just really ponder this, right? If they can create these things that exist that can't be used, what does that actually mean for the future of gaming? And this also has not really been tackled, except for the fact that, we just might not have physical games. But it could be worse than that. It could be so much worse than that, because the gears were turning, and for sure, there are worse things they could do. For starters, right, Borderlands 4 is just the first keycard release to be pushed back, to essentially have the possibility to be mass produced and not meet its release date. So it's a weird thing as it is, right? Because it's been out since June. We've had some things, Madden, NBA, Star Wars Outlaws, a lot of different keycards have released, and they've met their release dates. So this hasn't really been a question that we've had to ask before, but could it happen again? When is Borderlands 4 even going to be available? This feels like it's really bright now, so I'm going to have to give it a second. It'll adjust. Is Borderlands 4 going to release soon? Is it going to release later? How long? And how long are they sitting on those potential copies that are just sitting there, right? But how many other keycard releases could end up running into the same thing, especially if they are going up to the minute, still working and developing these games just to throw that download up midnight the day before, and then it's just just supposed to be ready and expected to work. Because again, with the digital releases, you could just push that back and it doesn't matter. Right? They could have all the time they want to finish it, to polish it, to put it out there in the shop, give it a nice release date, whatever. But if you're sitting on copies of something that you spent money on to produce, the boxes, the artwork, and the key card, however cheap they may be, when you start talking about anything in the realm of hundreds of thousands to millions, even $1 spent is hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars, if that's what it costs per key card to release. I don't know. I'm sure most of you guys don't know. Most people in general probably do not know, that are not the accounting departments and the companies themselves that of these key card developing studios. But they're going to want to do something with that. So any any key card release could do the exact same thing. It could happen with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. The Switch 2 version could get pushed back with a very solid release date. And it could, and the thing is like games get pushed back all the time, right? So that's not new. But being pushed back the week before while you're like expecting it, like your excitement is all the way up because you're like, man, it's like 7 days or less and I'm going to have this thing and I'm going to play it, just to get told, hey, this isn't going to happen, right? And that's a ridiculously short amount of time to get that notice of like, hey, your pre-order's getting canceled. Tough luck, or we'll give you a release date when we have it. So there's that. That is a very real, very bad thing that can happen more than just with Borderlands. It could happen with Final Fantasy VII Remake. It could happen with Dynasty Warriors Origins. It could happen with if Resident Evil 9 Requiem becomes a key card. I don't think it's actually officially said either way. I'm just saying that if it does, and the possibility there is actually kind of high. But it could happen. And all these things, like, it could just become a normal thing to, not have certainty in pre-orders at all. Thus, pre-orders may ultimately come to a halt when it comes to physical, even digital stuff. If they're going to wait to like the week before and be like, it's not going to happen, right? Because it was all Switch 2. It wasn't just the key cards, but because the key cards are pushed back, digital has to be pushed back too. And before, like, you at least had that guarantee that the physical copies had to be manufactured, again, taking probably 2 to 3 months to manufacture those copies, and they wouldn't start that process if they had nothing to put on the cartridge. But now they can start that process with nothing on the cartridge, and they can go up to the last minutes. They don't even have to give you a week. This could be like days, even hours before the release, and they could be like, hey, look, sorry, but like it's not going to happen. We tried, it's not there. Yeah, probably not hours, because they still got to send out the key cards, but in theory, they do have a key card to send to a store, and they could even hand you the key card, which is the next bad point, right? It could lead into mass fraud, if you really think about it, right? Because what would be the next step from going to key cards? That would be to actually just give you the case, the artwork, and the key card when it's available. And so then it becomes either that's what's there on launch day and you're waiting for a date to be told you can play your game, or that's what they hand you when you pre-order it, and then you wait for the release date to be able to play it. And with some studios being bought out and shut down, or games being canceled and things like that, if that's the realm that they go and they sell you a key card first, and so you have that, and months go by, year goes by, whatever, and you pre-order this thing, you may not get that game ever. And the longer that goes on, the harder that's going to be to fight in court to get money back. If they decide they want to slap on there no refunds, and they take your money for a pre-order, and they could do it. They could absolutely do it. They might only get away with it once, but if they do it once and they scam millions of people, they never have to do it again. In theory, they could just pay all the people that were in on it on a decent lump sum of money, and they never have to do it again. But you're still out if they do it. So that's all I'm saying for the fraud, right? Because that is probably worst case scenario, is we could be heading to fraud. But I mean, still waiting until the week before to say, hey, we're not going to make this release date, that's bad in itself. And losing faith in pre-orders is bad. in itself. So I don't know, man. I I went down so far into this, and none of it sounds good because none of it is good. But nobody's talking about it, right? We talk about key cards are bad. Key cards are not a way to preserve games. You still have to put the cartridge in to play a digital title. Like all the bad things. Talk about the little bit of good things. But you're not talking about the potential bad things and the things that we have now seen this week because Borderlands is not going to meet that time. But not just because it's not meeting the time, but because it waited until the week before to say, hey, this isn't going to happen. That's bad either way. That is really bad to do either way. But, again, they weren't going to wait and then try to produce everything in a week. They have those key cards. I can say that with so much certainty at this point that there is a warehouse, at least one, for Gearbox that is holding game key cards with the entire box art printed, the cases there, the key cards in it ready to go. So they don't have to worry about that aspect anymore. Because now they can go up to the minute trying to make sure that that game is done. And if they can't do that, now they don't have to try to rush and scramble for a day one patch or an update or update it as they go along. No, now they can essentially just sell you nothing and tell you it's coming later, or they can just blow off release dates. I don't like the state of gaming right now. I can tell you that. We've kind of snuck in a lot of really bad things, and I don't even really know who to blame on this one. Because I want to believe that Nintendo was really just trying to get the third-party support, but at the same time, unintentionally, Gearbox Studios and Borderlands just opened the door and said, here you go, here's a new solution. Just print those suckers, and you can go right up until a week or so before, however long it's going to take you to ship those out, and you got all that time to develop that game. And if it doesn't work, oh well. Oh well, they're still going to buy it from us later, and we got the money from the other systems. So, tough luck. And it also just welcomes in anyone who wants to try to commit fraud and just sell you a key card and never give you a game. And I hate the thought. But at the same time, with the way the world is right now, when you see things with these multi-million and billion-dollar companies lobbying Congress, lobbying the government, being in the back pocket of the president, whoever is president, but current one too, they could do it. They could absolutely do it. It is not so far-fetched that it's a no. It is possible, and possible is terrifying. So I don't know. Before I start really talking in circles on this, I had to get this out there because this is where my brain has been going since this morning, and I listened to it on the way up. I was listening to Spawn Wave talk about that delay, and it just started a spiral. So yeah, sorry, I know he's having issues back there. So with that, I should probably go. But definitely, if you have strong opinions or even not so strong opinions on this, whatever you guys are thinking on it, comment it down below. If you think I'm just way out there and like a crazy conspiracy nut, I mean, I think is the first time I've ever really thought stuff that wild and out there, but it really isn't. But go ahead and tell me that too. But then if you support the idea that, yeah, they could now take more time and possibly give you a better complete game. I mean, definitely say that too. Um, whatever you guys are thinking, even if it's just like you're excited for Borderlands, you really don't care about all the other stuff I was talking about, you just heard Borderlands 4 over and over again, that's cool too. I didn't really care for the first one, so I didn't really get into the series, but I'll talk about it. You might be able to convince me on 4 and just skip the other 3. Hit the like button if you did like this. I feel like I said that already. Subscribe, because I would love to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We are slowly getting closer to that, and I'm not there, so please hit that subscribe button. And then hit the bell notification button to be alerted to upcoming videos, because I do sometimes have these weird thoughts and I gotta get out. But also, there are new games coming out. Pac-Man Pac-Man World 2 Repack is on Friday, so we're going to do an unboxing and gameplay for that. We're going to do a Let's Play Tabletop on Saturday at 9 a.m. Next week is Super Mario Galaxy plus Galaxy 2. Same thing. Thursday when it releases, we're going to do an unboxing and a gameplay, and then Saturday at 9 a.m., Let's Play Tabletop. The week after that is supposed to be Yooka Replayly. Still not showing release dates on any of the websites, but Platonic has said October 9th, so fingers crossed. We're going to be able to do that and do an unboxing, gameplay, and Let's Play Tabletop. And then we got Pokemon, we got Hyrule Warriors, we got Kirby Air Riders coming up, so hopefully all those things kind of line up. And yeah. So anything you guys want to say, comment it down below. Any suggestions for videos or gameplay, definitely say that below. And as always, thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you next time.